Breaking news here on Celtics Today. Boston is signing Denzel Valentine to an Exhibit 10 training camp deal. This coming in earlier this afternoon from Shams Charania in The Athletic. The Athletic NBA tweeted this out earlier. Denzel Valentine and the Celtics have agreed to an Exhibit 10 training camp deal, sources tell Shams Charania. Valentine will compete for one of Boston's open roster spots in training camp. And folks, this is why you subscribe, because when Celtics news goes down, we got you covered. We're going to get you a video ASAP, and we bring you Celtics coverage all year long, also in the offseason and during the regular season. We're going to be bringing you guys Celtics videos. Go down, hit that big red subscribe button, help us get to 13,000 subscribers. So let's talk about Denzel Valentine, because earlier in his career, we looked at this guy as a guy with a lot of potential. He was a 2016 first-round pick, a lottery pick, 14th overall, by the Chicago Bulls out of Michigan State. He was a superstar at Michigan State, AP Player of the Year. Very, very rare for a senior to be a lottery pick, but that's how good Denzel was at Michigan State. Spent the first 5 seasons of his career with the Chicago Bulls, then spent the 2021-2022 season, at least the first part of that season, with the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, in January of 2022, so a couple months ago, he was traded to the Knicks, but he never played with New York. He was later waived, and then he signed a 10-day contract with the Jazz. However, just appeared in 2 games with Utah. Here's what he did last season. So 22 games in Cleveland, 2 games in Utah. 2.9 points per game, 1.9 rebounds per game, shot 37% from the floor while playing 9.3 minutes per game. So obviously not the numbers that he was putting up early in his career with Chicago. We'll talk about those numbers here in a second. But I want y'all to go down and grade the signing. Type A, B, C, D, or F down in the comment section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when an ad break comes, go down and reply. Grade the signing. What do you think about Valentine coming to Boston? Look, I mean, here are my thoughts on it. The Celtics needed a wing, and admittedly, Valentine is not who I had in mind earlier this offseason. I'm like, trade for Doug McBuckets or something like that, but they bring in Valentine. They needed a wing. We heard Brad Stevens at his end-of-season press conference say that they're going to look to bring in a wing. We heard Ime Udoka at the Summer League, Celtics head coach, say that they're probably going to bring in a wing. Here they are signing a wing. They needed a little bit more depth there. Valentine has a lot of experience playing in the NBA. Yes, he's not the player he was in Chicago, but still, you bring in a guy with experience, and he's going to come in and compete for a spot on this team. Again, it's just a training camp deal. It's not a one-year contract. He's got to earn a spot on this basketball team. And he's a pretty solid three-point shooter when you look at his career, a 36% three-point shooter. He can play the 2. He can play the 3. He's a little bit versatile. He can line up at either the 2 or the 3. Let's take a look now at the Celtics offseason additions, because there are multiple at this point. They traded for Malcolm Brogdon. That was no doubt the big splash that Brad Stevens made during free agency, trading for Malcolm Brogdon, absolutely fleecing the Indiana Pacers. Danilo Gallinari, probably one of the more underrated signings in all of free agency. You bring him in on a very, very team-friendly deal. J.D. Davidson, who looked very, very good in the Summer League. You draft him with your lone draft pick late in the second round. Mfiondu Kabengele, who in my opinion was the Celtics Summer League MVP. You sign him to a 2-way contract. You sign Bruno Caboclo to a camp deal. You also bring in Noah Vonleh. Now, Noah Vonleh signed a 1-year contract. Kabengele and Caboclo were both signed to camp deals. So that's something to keep in mind when you're talking about their chances of making this team. Same goes for Denzel Valentine. He has signed a camp deal. He is the newest member of the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics roster has gotten very, very interesting after these signings this offseason. Want to tell you about this great deal we're giving you on the Celtics polo, under $60, on sale for a limited time. Go and pick it up. Chatsports.com/Celtics polo. Summer's winding down up there in the Northeast, so you don't have that much longer to wear these polos. So go and take advantage of it. Chatsports.com/Celtics polo. That link in the comments and the description of this video. Let's talk about Valentine because, as I mentioned, he was a superstar at Michigan State, winning the AP Player of the Year in 2016, was one of the best players in that storied program's history. 14th overall pick by the Bulls after his senior season. His best NBA season came in 2017 and 2018 with the Chicago Bulls. And his rookie season, he was pretty productive, but his sophomore season was probably the best season that Denzel Valentine has had in his NBA career. Put up very, very solid numbers in Chicago. Here are those numbers: 10.2 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game, 41.7% from the floor. And I think a lot of people are wondering what happened to Valentine, because that sophomore season was very, very good. But when you look at what happened after that, 2018, he had a season-ending knee injury. And then later that, or I should say the next season, 2019, he had a bone bruise, missed the first 17 games of that season. And then later that season, he underwent season-ending ankle surgery. So when you look at Valentine, he was a very productive player early in his career, had a lot of potential, but the injuries, unfortunately, have really impacted his career thus far. Now, is Denzel Valentine going to make this basketball team? Go down, type Y for yes or type in for no. Go down, chime in. With the lack of depth at the wing spot, I do think he has a chance to make this team, but he signed a training camp deal. He's got to go to camp and prove that he belongs on this basketball team. However, I still think the Celtics need a backup center. When you look at the available centers, there's still someone that you can go out there and get. He can be the number 2 center, because right now I do not have confidence in Luke Kornet to play that position. Hassan Whiteside, Dwight Howard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Montrezl Harrell. Now, Whiteside, Howard, and Aldridge are probably all going to sign, wherever they sign, to the vet minimum deal. Harrell might be a little bit more expensive, but I do believe that the Celtics will go out and add a center, whether it's Whiteside, Howard, Aldridge, maybe another name, but the Celtics definitely need a backup center. Luke Kornet cannot be the number 2 behind Robert Williams III. If I had to pick one of those guys to sign, I would say Hassan Whiteside. I think he would fit on this basketball team very, very well, because the Celtics pride themselves on defense, especially down low. Whiteside is a very, very talented defender, probably the best center still out there and available in NBA free agency that can come in and be the number 2 behind Robert Williams III. I would really like to bring Whiteside to Boston. Pretty surprising that all those guys are still out there and available in NBA free agency. Let me know, who do you want the Celtics to sign next? They just brought in Denzel Valentine. This is the first move they have made in several weeks. Go down. Let me know who you want the Celtics to bring in next. Thanks for watching this edition of Celtics Today. This has been Will Scott. Talk to you again soon.